Hi, everybody. It's Sunday, January 30th, and it's frigid, freezing cold here in New York City. We've just had a big nor'easter up the eastern seaboard of the United States. It dumped about a foot of snow in New York, but up to 2 feet of snow in New England and Boston and up on the Cape. And that's an interesting point to note that Venus is just stationed direct this weekend. She's stationed direct on Saturday at 11 degrees Capricorn. And it's very important to notice when we have storms like this and there's a planet stationing, which means it's standing still in the sky for a few days. Even though the retrograde is on Saturday, she's basically standing still on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Those few days around the station are more intensified because the planet is sort of in suspended animation. So it means everything that's going on in your world starts to get suspended, highly sensitized, and a little inflated. So the storm was inflated and a little more highly sensitized, and it was a big snowstorm, and everybody made a big deal about it. So that's an interesting thing to note on a station. I also have a very good story personally about the Venus retrograde. You know, Venus went retrograde around December 19th at what degree? She went retrograde at around 26 degrees of Capricorn. And she just stationed direct Saturday at around 11 degrees Capricorn. So she was in that Capricorn phase, that Capricorn degrees between 11 and 27. And right around the retrograde, my sister-in-law, who's a stage manager for Broadway shows, invited me to see a show for free. So I had a free ticket, a lovely Venus kind of pleasure around the retrograde. And it was interesting, on the direct station this weekend, she called me again and had another free ticket to see another show. And I found that fascinating, where you have the correlation of the two retrograde periods, the station retrograde around the 19th and the station direct around the 29th, 30th of January. And sometimes events correlate. And here's a perfect example of a correlation of a Venusian event. Some good news here. I always kind of talk a little negatively. This is a good news. Pleasure, something free, something lovely, a relationship. And going out to the theater and socializing. So let me just point out the astrology in my chart, which is interesting why it's her in particular. The third house we know in astrology is siblings. It's your attitude towards all siblings, but specifically the sibling just younger than you. So this is my brother's younger wife. My younger brother's younger wife. Well, she is younger than him. The third house is my younger brother, the brother of mine that's 3 years younger than me. The house opposite the third house, which would be the ninth house, would represent his wife, because the ninth house in my chart is the seventh from the third. So it represents the wife of my brother. And in that house, in my ninth house, the planet Venus sits natally. So the Venus retrograde this time had a lot to do with her. I love her. I have Venus sitting in the ninth house, the house opposite the third. My brother's wife, we get along. She loves me. I love her. This Venus retrograde was happening in my third house of siblings opposite that natal Venus. So the astrology here is so right on about the pleasures derived from something having to do with my brother's wife. That's one of the interpretations there. It's very clear in my chart, and I'm very grateful for that. Now, the Venus retrograde period, even though Venus has just turned direct, doesn't mean that everything's going to be hunky-dory and everything's going to go smoothly and everything's going to be lovely and everything's going to go, all pleasure-seeking things and all relationships are about to just get better and better. It's going to be a little slow going. Because the planet of beauty, peace, love, and harmony is moving forward, but slowly, and she still has to deal with the planet Pluto, and she has to deal with Mars, and she has to deal with Saturn. But mostly she still has to deal with Pluto. And Pluto has been digging up things from the past. Pluto has been very psychologically having you re-examine your self-worth, your self-esteem, your self-image. You know, Mercury, when Venus turns retrograde, the retrograde process is an internal process. And we all know that Venus has to do with relationships and love and partnership and money and All those things would be dealt with here. But on an even more personal level, a retrograde planet like Venus says, I want to turn inwards psychologically and see what it is I value about myself, my own self-worth, my own self-esteem, my talent. I want to go deeper inside me to see where it is that I can do better, to make myself a better person within relationship. How do I appreciate myself? And in appreciating myself, how do I appreciate and value others? This would be a very internal psychological process about your self-image. Okay, and with Venus having to hit Pluto 3 times during this retrograde, she joined up forces with the Lord of the Underworld on December 11th, December 25th, and she doesn't finish up until March 3rd. So she really has the whole month of February here to now move forward and see how she's doing in the revelations that she's uncovered while she's gone into the underworld. So the retrograde is like the myth of Inanna and Ereshkigal. She goes into the underworld and strips herself bare and hangs out there because she's got to get in touch with her other side, her dark side. You might even say her base, vile, needy, jealous, obsessive side. You have to get in touch with your dark side in order to see a self-assessment of truly your Venusian values. So now that's kind of been uncovered, but the whole month of February, she's got to move forward and see how the work is going. How am I doing? There's still a little more to uncover. She's going to join up forces with Mars, her archetypal lover in astrology. She's going to join up forces with Mars on February 16th and again on March 6th. Again, this early March period is very powerful. And, she's going to have to play nice with Mars here. Mars is a little bit of a bully, and Venus is going to be a little bit besieged in between Mars and Saturn for the whole month of March. So even when we get into March, and she joins up forces with Mars, and there's like new beginnings being made, and Mars wants to toughen up Venus and her values. What did you learn while Pluto uncovered the darker side of you? What kind of transformative energy and what kind of transformative lessons were reconstructed with Pluto made you delve into the dark and psychologically probe? Because there's new structures about your contracts and relationships and your money and your self-worth and your value and your talent. And you have to rip down the old structures and make new ones so that you can present that Venus shine in the world a little stronger. And Mars is going to be bullying Venus to just toe the line here. Step up to the plate. Mars likes the sign of Capricorn. So he's going to have a little more power than Venus. And Venus can't be bitchy and whiny. And she's got to step up to the plate and, hit some home runs here. And Mars is going to get help from his pal Saturn. So Venus is going to be traveling between Mars and Saturn in March. So all these projects that you're launching, all these reevaluations of what your Venusian principles are that have been going on since November, and being in the dark of the tunnel here and figuring it out. And now we're starting to move forward, and there's still more to be unraveled here, but you kind of know where you're going, and you kind of know what the new beginning is, and you kind of know where the relationships are going, and you kind of know what your talent is, and you kind of know how you're going to socialize, and your pleasures, and your money, and you know where these structures are shifting and where they're going, but there's still more to play out. And Venus can be very bitchy and lazy on her negative side. And while she's being besieged by Saturn and Mars, again, Pluto dredged up where you have to transform your Venus. And the Saturn and Mars are going to say, put it to use in the real world. Put it to use in the real world. Make some mistakes. Get out there. Try. If you make a mistake, get back up. Two steps forward, one step back, whatever that phrase is, right? Lay the bricks, lay the groundwork, keep moving forward. Besiegement in astrology is considered rather negative. I don't want to give it is negative in the sense that, oh my God, I've got to work harder. I thought I had this project off the ground, but now I'm going to have more obstacles, more blocks, more delays. But they're there just to make you produce in the material world. They're there to get you to be stronger, to stand on your own 2 feet. Venus, again, can be a very lazy planet. And here she's got to be a warrior goddess. She's turning into the morning star. So when she turns into the morning star, she's got to be a warrior goddess. And Mars and Saturn will ensure that she does, as long as they're not being too bullyish on her. Mars and Saturn can have an extremely negative effect and bury Venus alive, basically. You want the Mars and the Saturn here to prop her up with strength, with courage, with bravery, with attending to the details, with being organized, with being disciplined, with being focused. It's not about being bullying, although if you do feel that, that's where you're going to have to work things out with others in your life. So, and then the one last thing I want to say about all this is the Mercury retrograde we had. Mercury has just retrograde back into Capricorn at the same degrees where Venus made her he retrograded back into Capricorn, at the place where Venus entered Capricorn. There's a lap over here. Okay, and so it's just those late degrees of Capricorn are very emphasized right now, which is what I want to say here. And the Mercury part of this with Pluto and Venus is the organization, the communication, the putting it out there with the words, with your education, with your intellect, with the air element. Okay. So there's a lot going on here, and always happy to talk about it and share my thoughts with you and enjoy this frigid cold in the Northeast. And I love the snow, so I'm going out to the theater again today because in true Venus retrograde and stationing direct fashion, another friend called me up with another free ticket. So I'm off to the theater. Bye.